there was some article in the Sun or the Star saying that I slept with Sunita.
Right, did you?
Welcome. We are Neil,
Luke and Dave.
340-somethings reminiscing on the runners and riders of 90s guitar music.
We look at the bands who soundtracked our youth on both sides of the pond and interview some of our heroes from the bands that defined a generation.
You'll hear about the good, the bad and the ugly of 90s guitar music.
This podcast is Stupid and Contagious. Episode 31, Big 3-1 of the Stupid and Contagious podcast. Leon Mayer from Northern Uproar. It's a good one, this.
In his car.
He's always in his car. I've seen him do a few interviews. He's always in his car.
It's a good place to go, right?
Yeah, before we get into the episode, what's everyone been up to? Luke's not feeling very well. Poor little Mark.
No, I've got to be a bit sniffy and sneezy today.
No.
Do you know what? I've been watching loads of films this week. Run up to the Oscars. Oscar films. Like about halfway through the week, I was looking at like the list of like the 10 nominations for Best Picture, and I realised I'd already seen 6 of them. So I was like, right, I'm going to see if I can watch all of them before Sunday.
Right.
And then I can, you can judge, right?
Yeah.
So I did. So that's what I did.
Would you have gone with their verdict?
I mean, it was good. Yeah, it's a good film. Although my favourite was probably Poor Things. I think Emma Stone won the Best Actress for that. That was probably my favourite. I don't know if it was the best, but I enjoyed it the most. It's
quite stylised, isn't it, that one?
It's pretty mental. Yeah. It's really clever. It's really good. How about you two? Neil, what have you been up to?
You've been going a bit Brokeback Mountain, haven't you? I heard.
What's that?
Have you been fucking in the
Went
mountains?
camping with a friend.
Oh, I went fishing with a friend. That's right.
Oh, in a tent.
No, in the car.
A little bit like Brokeback Mountain.
It's not remotely like Brokeback Mountain. We went fishing down New Haven Harbour and didn't catch anything, as per always. No one ever does when they go fishing, though, do they? It's never the point, is it?
I don't think there are any fish left in the sea. I've been so many times and caught nothing.
I was so happy when I didn't catch anything, though. I went once and I was so happy I didn't catch anything. I would have felt terrible if I had.
And that's what I said to Danny. Like, I hate watching fish be killed. I can't do it anyway. I have to get into it. I hate all that. Yeah. So it was perfect if they don't catch anything.
Yeah, just have a nice afternoon, eh? By the beach, it's all right, isn't it?
Well, it was eve. We went night fishing, so we went from like 9 till 12.
Oh, that sounds bloody cold over there.
Well, we were sat in the car for a lot of it. But, it was good to catch up. Nice thing to do, isn't it? It's quite wholesome fishing, isn't it? Apart from the killing bit.
Apart from the murder.
Yeah, the rest of it's all right. We didn't do any murder, so it's fine. Dave, what have you been up to?
You might notice I've had a haircut, which is of note because my daughter did it.
Looks like it.
Why did she decide to do it blindfold? What was that decision? Was it like a party game?
No, I bought all the stuff so that I could have my hair cut at home. I thought it'd be good for her to learn, so you've got a skill for uni.
You've got to start somewhere,
so you can earn some money at uni.
No, it looks better. It looks much better than it did. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's all right.
Not bad for a first effort.
Yeah, it looks as good as whenever you get it done normally. So,
how much did she charge?
I refused to pay because it was her first time.
Sure.
If you are watching this, then please do subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Let us know your favourite Northern Uproar songs, memories, all that sort of stuff. And if you are listening, then please do rate, review, because it really does help people find the podcast. Dave, have you had a chance to listen to any Northern Uproar this week?
Yes, I have. I must admit, at the time, back then, I dismissed them just because I didn't like the name of the band.
Bit fickle.
What image did you have? What did you think they sounded like with a band like Northern Uproar?
He thought they were geezers, didn't he? Thought they were geezers. He hates geezers.
No, it's not that. I thought it was just manufactured. It's not at all, is it? But
right. Well, no, it's not at all. He covers it in the interview. But Luke, just give us a bit of a rundown on the band for people that don't know.
I mean, they got categorised as lad rock. So I guess, just classic Brit Pop, right?
Yeah, I'd say so. classic Britpop, isn't it?
Formed in Stockport, outside Manchester. Unbelievably, they started when they were like 11 years old, which he talks about in the interview, which is crazy, right?
I mean, people start learning instruments at quite a young age, but not to be in a band. Do you know what I mean? That's a different entity, isn't it?
Yeah. So, 4-piece, Leon, vocals, Paul on guitar, Jeff on other guitar, and someone called Keith. Don't get many Keiths this age, our age, do you?
Yeah, not really, no. My uncle's called Keith, but he's not our age, so yeah.
Exactly. Keith on the drums. Signed a record deal when they were 16. So again, still super young, and basically very quickly were all over the music papers, Enemy, Melody Maker on the front pages. Yeah, signed to Heavenly Records. They seem to come up again and again on this podcast, right? They were the record label of the moment around that time.
Big players.
First album came out in '96, self-titled, just at Northern Uproar. Reached the heady heights of number 22 on the charts. Co-produced by James Dean Bradfield. Right? Yeah, debut album as well, right?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so co-produced by James Dean Bradfield. 4 singles come out of it, which is a lot to come out of an album.
I thought some of them sound a little bit Shed 7-ish. What do you think?
Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah.
That's a compliment, by the way.
Well, we know you're a Shedhead.
They kind of had the look and swagger of Oasis, didn't they? A little bit.
They did have Parkers, which they refused to take off and kept the top buttons done up and all that, right?
Yeah, it was all that.
But they do look so young. I was watching videos in the week. They do look ridiculously young, and they were.
There they were, yeah. What other singles had? That Town.
So Rollercoaster was their debut, which I really liked at the time. Yeah, got to just miss the top 40, 41. And their second single, From a Window, was their big hit, basically. Went top 20, number 17, and they were on top of the pops with that. So, again, I was watching that in the week. Really good performance. Yeah, and they were off, basically. Toured the UK, went to Japan. He talks about it in the interview. It's interesting. And yeah, they were, things were on the up. But as we're finding out with a lot of these Britpop bands, it didn't last for long, right?
No. What goes up comes down pretty quick.
Yeah. So, second album, Yesterday, Tomorrow, Today, came out the following year, 97, but didn't sell anywhere nearly as much as the first album. Had 3 singles from it, but the first one got in the top 40, but after that, it didn't. And yeah, basically they weren't making enough money for their record label, and they split up in 1999. And that was it for the time being.
Just because Britpop went out of favour, and any band sort of involved in that scene, that was it, pretty much. Unless they had some sort of longevity, that scene just sort of went, didn't it?
It didn't need to, though. If record companies had taken, invested in them and given them the chance to have a couple of failures and to keep going, then maybe who knows what would have happened, right? It's just the brutality of the record industry that made that happen. They didn't have to drop them. You can't, bands they've got to be given the time to you can't exponentially grow. It's impossible to keep. That's the problem with capitalism, right? You can't keep growing.
Here we go.
There's limits, Yeah, I won't start. Yeah, you
Mr. Double every week.
No, but I agree. I think more time should have been invested in the bands. I'm just saying, I think that's what happened. The whole Britpop scene imploded, didn't it? And the bands went with it.
Yeah, but this was, if they'd have just waited a couple of years and given them a chance, then guitar cut bands came back in 2001. It wasn't, record companies could have supported them, and it didn't need to happen like that. But there you go.
And unfortunately, the bands that replaced them were pretty woeful. That's when we got all the acoustic shit, didn't we? And Travis.
Yeah, it wasn't my cup of tea, but yeah.
Some of it was all right, but...
So they reformed in 2006. And from 2006 to 2015, they released 4 albums, although one of them was like a live acoustic album.
I didn't know
and
that.
And their final album in 2015 is called Hey Samurai! ! It's very kind of Spanish influenced. He talks about his Spanish kind of heritage in the interview, but it's got like a lot of kind of like Spanish guitar and stuff on it, and it doesn't sound anything like them. I guess it sounds what like his solo stuff is going to sound like when he releases it. And it's kind of nice. It's really good. I liked it. Also, very sadly, one of the guitarists, Jeff Fletcher, died. Well, got killed.
That's right. Yeah.
Basically, they haven't officially broken up. I think Northern Uproar. Basically, it's not really an ongoing concern anymore, and he's doing his solo stuff.
Yeah, he seems quite into his solo career at the moment.
But he talks about it in the interview quite a lot, so I won't talk about it because he's pretty passionate about what he's doing.
We'll let Luke have a sneeze, and then I'll come back to you after the interview. This is Leon Mayer from Northern Uproar. Enjoy. Leon,
yes.
Thanks so much for coming on. Apologies for the technical issues, but
no worries.
Society we live in now, isn't it?
Yeah.
How are things? You working on any music at the moment, or?
I've been working on music for the last 3 years. I don't know if you know, but I'm Spanish. My dad's Spanish, so my cousin.
We were just talking about this. I'm in Lanzarote at the moment.
Oh, are you? Well, I was playing in Porto del Carmen and Playa Blanca actually.
Oh, really? What recently?
Last year, on and off last year. Yeah. No, in events.
Yeah.
I've got a studio in Barcelona, and I've got a lot of musicians over there, and basically I've recorded like a rock album, and then I've recorded like an acoustic sort of Latin album, all pretty much at the same time.
Wow.
And they're both polar opposites, and I mean completely opposite. But it's coming together. It's coming together really well, and it should be all done by this year. I'm flying back over next week for a week to throw some new tracks down and to tidy up some other songs. But yeah, I'm releasing a solo stuff over the next couple of years. But then obviously I need help with like the Bandcamp thing and things like that, because I'm pretty old at in the way that my head's still stuck in the past in the way that things are done. But
welcome to the podcast.
We're all the same, don't worry.
Yeah. That's coming out on Bandcamp, is it?
Well, that's the idea. When I get everything done, I'll be because I've done two albums pretty much all at once, and they're both very different. It's going to be quite interesting. I might release it all in one go, or I might release it. I just don't know, because what it is, I write a lot of songs. I wrote a lot of songs, and I write a lot of songs. But I think this year is going to be like, I'm pretty battered by it. But it's sounding. I'm dead proud of it, basically. And the guys in Barcelona, my bandmates, have done a fantastic job up to now. And I needed it really, because music's my therapy,
Yeah,
man.
That's great.
Yeah.
Are you still doing any stuff with Northern Uproar at all?
Not really, because no, I don't see the lads. They've got different lives now. I've continued doing music. I've continued writing music and performing. But performing as Northern Uproar is pretty. I'd love to do it, but it's just a headache to organise a band, to do a venue, and to, I could go and organise the band now, but if I turn up to a venue and it's not sold well, or the promoter hasn't done a good job or whatever, it just becomes a pointless exercise, and it's very, very draining. So I'd rather focus on what I'm good at, and that's writing and recording. We live in a different world now with live music. I perform a lot on my own, solo, because I don't have to rely on anyone else, and that's easy. I do well doing that. I do events, like I say. I've been all over Europe doing it. I was in Lanzarote. I've recently just been in Cuba for 3 months.
Wow.
3 weeks, should I say? Sorry, 3 weeks. And I've been writing and playing with musicians over there. So, a lot of it's really sort of just me. Well, it is just me. And what it is that the band that I've got in Barcelona, they're just a nucleus of musicians that I could just use, and it was very, very simple and dead easy. And and with that, eventually, when we started recording, it wasn't so good, but eventually we started getting the great products, and but it took a lot of graft. It's not something that, I mean, like I say, I started it 3 years ago, and I'm just coming to the end of it now. But more than anything, I'm enjoying it more than anything, and that's more important.
That's what it's all about.
I'm back to enjoying it, and not in the fucking minefield of wanting to be successful. You know what I mean? I mean, it's great to be successful. It's great to be successful on good work, good songs, good albums, and all that. But sometimes you're pissing against the wind. There's a lot of bands out there. And as I've grown up, should I say, it's more for me. But people love it. People do love it, and it will move people. I hope so. Anyway, will it? I think so.
It's brilliant. The Latin stuff, is that in Spanish?
I do a couple of songs in Spanish, but yeah, the Latin stuff is. See, it's funny, the Latin stuff, because it's Latin chords, and it's beautiful, strong melodies, but it's a hybrid. It's like a Spanglish type of mix.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm half Spanish, half English, I've sort of blended it together, and
I like that.
I think it's quite unique, to be honest with you, because because what it is, it's taking. See, I love all music, but I have there's a massive side to me that's soulful, and that soulful stuff is like from soul music, from guys like Hall & Oates, and Robert Palmer, and Elvis, things with big soul, and I've got that within myself. So I have a different side to me, and so I bring that into it. You know what I mean? So it's just it's a bit middle of the road, I suppose, but it's I love it.
Yeah. Sounds great. All right, well, let's go back then. I mean, you're probably bored of talking about it, but you really were fucking young when you started playing music, right? We're talking like 11, 12 years old. Is that right?
11 years old when I started, yeah. And I'm right outside my house now, and the front room there is where it all began.
Oh, wow.
Nuts.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's fitting.
I think we're pretty much the same age. Maybe like me and Neil, like a year older, maybe. And we're trying to work it out. Okay. Yeah. We're 40. You're 46, Neil, aren't you?
I'm 46.
I'm 40. I just turned 47. But I mean, were you even? I wasn't even listening to music at 11. What were you listening to? Was it your parents' record collection? How did you even know how to do that?
It was the Beatles and Stones, really, that I got into. Well, I'd say before that was probably Nirvana. Yeah, Nirvana, Beatles, the Rolling Stones. It all sort of come at the same time. But then also came acid house. I got into acid house quite quickly.
Yeah.
There was a big movement with that. obviously the Happy Monday, Stone Roses. Yeah, it all happened at the same time quite quickly. What it did, it gave me it made me realize I'm a creative person, and I love creating. Still today I love writing and composing songs, and it was the thing that hit me straight away was that I wanted to be in a band. And then luckily for me, my friend at the time, Paul Kelly, was starting up a band, and we started it, and I couldn't play the drum. I was initially the drummer. Got a set of drums. It was crap, thought I'd go on bass. I was crap on bass, but eventually you just, the thing is with being making music is that you've got to play with other people to get a band formula, because eventually, however crap you are, you'll eventually just get better and better. And then that's how it happened. And then, at 16, we signed a record deal. So that was it. It was from then.
But then, so that's like 5 years of getting better, which is a long time, right?
Yeah, and the first gig we ever did was at the local, where I live now in South Manchester, was the local public hall, and we did our first gig at I think we were 13, 14, so there's obviously full of school kids, and we did 2 big dues there. And our manager at the time just then after that put us in the Boardwalk, which was a club at the time in Manchester. Wow. And it quickly spiraled quite quickly then, and then we got a lot of attention by the A&R, and then we got signed. And it was great. It was a great story. Because what you've got to understand as well is that my manager was the park keeper. He was the park keeper on the park that I used to play football on, and that's how I got to know him. Do you know what I mean?
That's great.
The Parkies still exist. Do we still have Parkies? That's are they still a thing, man?
There's no Parkies now, but I still walk my dog on the field. And the park is behind my grandma's house, which we still got there. So I still walk around there. I've got my dog there. So, we still, it's not there no more. But yeah, it's a beautiful story, because he was a park keeper. He was an ex-tour manager of a band called the World of Twist, which
I know the World of Twist. Yeah.
Which and he then obviously lost his job. Well, not lost his job. The band lost the record deal. So then he became a park keeper, and then we got talking, showed him some music, and the rest is history.
Wow. And you signed to Heavenly, right? Heavenly were like at the center of everything back then. It seemed to me, looking from the outside. I mean, why did you decide to go with them if there were loads of other A&R kind of sniffing around?
Well, the thing is, through the grapevine at the time, I remember. I mean, don't forget, I was only 16. I was relying on other people's verdicts on this, on opinions. I didn't have an opinion on it. I just went where we were going to go, but everyone just went, that's the coolest label, blah blah blah. I had Pete Waterman after us. Honestly, at one of our gigs, I'll kid you not, we had Pete Waterman. We have Fergal Sharkey in his group of cronies.
Yeah.
Right. No, I'm only joking. No, and then one night, and I kid you not, Robbie Williams came to see us. Right.
Wow.
And he came with because what had happened, he'd broke up with Take That at the time.
Yeah.
And
he was looking Brit Pop stage, wasn't it?
He was looking for a band to join, and we got wind that he was coming, and we were playing at the Roadhouse. It's only a small club, 300 people, packed. And he came in. Obviously, I met him, introduced, and he came in with a minder, and he was getting that much mither, he ended up having to leave halfway through the set. But yeah, so we had a lot of interest from a lot of different people.
So Robbie could have joined Northern Uproar. Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's what he was looking. Yeah, that's what he wanted. So it was a funny period. But going back to what you were saying, Heavenly Records was the one that was the one that everyone pushed us towards, and we had great times with them. You know, and I'm still in contact. And they've obviously gone to done amazing things, and they're involved with
still going
massive artists, and that was that story really.
Yeah, it's great, man. And I remember when Rollercoaster came out, I guess I must have heard it on the evening session or something, but it seemed to be everywhere, and it just seemed to be like the perfect kind of pop song, basically. I mean, did you know it was going to be a hit?
Not a chance. I mean, I was a young lad, like I say, I was 16 at the time, and looking back, what was beautiful is that all them songs that we did are well recognized by people like yourselves and people that like that music. And you know, and it's I get sent remarks all the time on my YouTube of all the singles, you know, and people say some pretty amazing things like, you know, we're you know, why didn't we go to a different level? And I totally agree with them. You know, we did some great tunes. We had a great band. You know, at one point we had a 3-4 part brass section, everyone doing harmonies. It was just an incredible band. It's just a shame it couldn't go that bit further. But you know, the songs are there, and they will stand the test of time.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I was a full-on Brit Pop kid as well, man. It was great. Yeah. And so then, it did take off to a certain extent, right? So you're on top of the pops, TFI Friday.
Yeah.
I mean, how was all of that?
It was amazing. It was amazing, but it was like a roller coaster. We were trying to get to a different level all the time. You know, and listen, we did the biggest shows going. We were on the chart show every. Another thing I remember, I met Noel Gallagher once, back in on New Year's Eve in a Heavenly Social night, about 1996, and they just announced they were doing a main road, and he turned around to me and said, "We're going to ask you to support us on main road." Now that didn't happen, right? But when he told us that, I couldn't believe it. I remember because I was there with my record company bosses, and he said, "You realize what you're getting here?" And I just thought, this is getting incredible. But if we would have done things like that, that could have sustained it a bit longer.
Right.
I think it was the sustainability of it all. You know, we had amazing times. Supported the Charlatans, supported Paul Weller, did 2 full tours with them. We went all over Europe doing the European tours. We supported the Prodigy, which was crazy. Over in Finland and Sweden.
Have you got any good stories you can tell us of life on the road with these legends?
Not really. There's nothing. Nothing really. Like they were all I could say. We were young lads, and they were a lot.
Yeah,
these bands were a lot older than us. You know what I mean? At least 8 years older. At 9 years old, you know. I just remember being with the Black Grape, and at the time, we were all in the airport once, and I was sort of like, "Oh, that's Sean Ryder, fuck you know," and you know, and he was absolutely smashed out of his head, and
you'd be disappointed if anything else, though.
His security guard says, "Sorry, Leon, but he can't really talk." I said, "Why?" I said, "He's had 40 Valium and 2 bags of smack." Now, you know what I mean? So, and he was fucking KO'd, all I know, on the fucking, you know what I mean? So, you know, this is the type of stuff you're dealing with, you know what I mean? I mean, for the grace of God, he's still alive, but it was. We had crazy times, but I was young, you know what I mean? So I sort of forget a lot of it in some ways. I do and I don't.
Do you think you kind of took it all in your stride at the time? You were just like, yeah, whatever, Paul Weller, fuck it, whatever, you know?
I just, like I say, it was just getting better and better. And at the time, I just, it was incredible. I mean, listen, I can look back and tell you about the things. Oh, I wish this, I wish that, but it's been and gone. We had great times, you know what I mean, and so I've just got to think about it like that, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
How did you end up recording with James Dean Bradfield? How did that come about?
That was suggested by the record company.
All right, the Manics were on Heavenly as well. That's right at the start. Yeah,
they were originally, and he came. Well, basically, we started working with him, and he co-produced it with Dave Edinger, which is the actual producer of the Manics of recent years. And they just guided us, helped us. He did some backing vocals on some of the songs, and he was a great guy. I heard him recently interviewed on Nihal on Radio 5, and he was interviewing James Dean Bradfield, and he asked I was driving in my car, and he said, has anyone got any stories about James Dean Bradfield? Please text in. And I texted in, about East Leon, not he helped, and told him the story, basically texting the story about it. He helped Northern Uproar do the first album, and he announced that Nihal, and it was quite funny. And James said, "All right, Leon, how you doing?" It's like it was yesterday, you know what I mean? So 27 years ago, here.
It's brilliant. Yeah. You talked about meeting Noel Gallagher earlier. I mean, I think like Northern Uproar, they were put into like the lad rock category. I mean, how do you feel about that?
Well, it was inevitable, really. It worked. We were just young lads making powerful guitar music, so I could see people putting us in that bracket easily. But we were totally different, and we were totally we weren't there because they started up. I knew nothing about them. I knew nothing about them up until I was actually signed. So so what happened? It worked in our favor, and it also in the press they sort of give us a bit of a nip, because I think what they wanted to say to Oasis they couldn't really say, because all they've got to say is like, we don't have to do an interview for your paper anymore, and that's it. So it worked in our favor, but it was also something that there was some things that weren't true about it. You know what I mean? We stood on our own 2 feet, really. You know what I mean?
How about like the Loaded magazine, Birds and Beer and all of that? Could you kind of embrace that side of lad rock culture?
Totally, yeah. I mean, listen, funny that you say that, because I'm flicking back now at the times, because you're talking 27 years ago here. I remember doing the Face magazine with Richard Ashcroft.
Oh wow!
And then we did a few tours with the Verve. We did a few gigs with the Verve, actually. Wow. I remember that. And that was before they really hit it.
That's before Urban Hymns came out, right? That was
Yeah, and then we did the Loaded magazines, and we did all these magazines. They're not even around anymore now, because they wouldn't be. But it was fantastic. You know what I mean? And then we did daft things like the Big Breakfast with Zig and Zag. You know what I mean? And then, I mean, that was fucking mental, because basically you've got the 2 guys with hands with 2 puppets. And
what are you saying? You're destroying my child. Are you saying they're not really aliens?
No. But the thing is, I could shut off and talk to these puppies, but Jeff, the guitarist, thought, "What the fuck's going on here?" he couldn't split the entertainment value of it at all. And it was so funny because his face was just totally poker face, like, what the hell's going on?
That's quality.
I loved Zig and Zag. It was great. It was great.
So I can say I've been interviewed by Zig and Zag. Yeah, that's fucking.
There you go.
There you go. Not everyone can say that.
And then was the live big. We did the big breakfasts live loads of times. It was when I look back, it was a fantastic time. Johnny Vaughan was on there presenting. Remember?
I love Johnny Vaughan. Yeah.
And there was loads, but there was at that time. For me, that time was a special time, definitely because obviously, technology was different. We didn't have all these phones. It was all buying TVs. It was watching the TV. It was all it was a different world.
Yeah, like everyone of like our age, everyone watched TFI Friday, right? So if you were on that, everyone had fucking seen you. You know what I mean?
Well, that was an amazing. Like going back to what I was saying before, we had a 3-part brass section, we had the band sounding. At that moment, we were doing a lot of gigging, and the band sounded super tight, and not only that, all of us was singing 4-part harmonies. Mm-hmm. So you had the band that was super tight with harmonies, and then brass. It was just sublime. And then we did the TFI Friday, and I think I mean you don't see programs like this anymore because you just don't.
Nah, we were talking about this the other week. Yeah, it just don't know if it would work anymore. That format. I don't know if it would work anymore.
That these formats they just don't have them anymore. It's something else. It's something else. And I can't sort of put my finger on it, but it's definitely not but everything changes.
Yeah. Well, Neil's in Lanzarote. I'm in Tokyo. You seem to have a little bit of a Japanese following, and you toured Japan a couple of times back in the day, right? I mean, how was it going over to Japan back then?
It was incredible. It was the only thing that fucked me up, should I say, is the jet lag was horrendous.
Yeah,
I remember because we were flying over there. I think you're 8 hours ahead or something, aren't you?
Yeah, 9 in the winter. Yeah.
Right. So I remember because I've just recently suffered jet lag coming back from Cuba, and I remember the worst jet lag ever was going to Japan because we were having to go on stage and it was just like, oh God, it was horrendous. And I think we were there the first time we were there 3 weeks, and the second time we were there 2 weeks.
That's a really long time. Wow.
The gigs were massive. And they were all.
Do you remember where you played?
Pardon?
Do you remember any of the places you played?
I don't. But I remember doing a lot of drinking at the Lexington Queen in Roppongi. That's where we'd go. That was where. And obviously, I ate fantastic food there.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've done a lot of traveling east and west, and I don't think my body just can't handle it anymore. The jet lag is massive. It took me coming back from Cuba. It took me 2 weeks to get over it because I was just in that loop of sleeping. I just could not, and it was. But going towards the east, I thought was worse. You know what I mean? But the concerts were amazing, and we did really well. We actually sold more records in Japan than we did over here.
Oh wow!
Oh really?
Interesting. Wow. How were the Japanese fans?
Oh, they were, very, very polite.
Yeah, yeah. You're quite positive about Heavenly earlier. We've been hearing a lot from other guests on the podcast about the brutality of the music industry in the 90s. Were you treated well by the industry?
Yeah, we were treated as good as we weren't treated by the media very well. But we were treated. From what I can remember, everything was all fine. There was it was just ruthless, and it was basically if you didn't go to the next level, your record contract was on the line, and that's what happened. So unfortunately, and that's what happened when I played TFI Friday. I got told by the main guy there at Heavenly. He said to me that there's been a massive distribution problem, and they've not put the record in the shops in the UK. So that record should have been a top 3 hit, and he was on Radio 1 and everything, and he went to number 32. Now, probably that doesn't sound bad for people, but it was basically the last straw off the camel's back. You know what I mean?
Oh wow. Yeah.
And so in that terms, it was it is what it is, when it was what it was. But as a record company, they were absolutely behind their artists. They were fine, and
good to hear. Yeah,
and they still are, I believe, they still are.
Basically, this podcast, we started out because we were around in the 90s, and we talk about the 90s all the time. So there's a bit of nostalgia. It's coming back, isn't it? There's a lot of 90s nostalgia around at the moment. Are you aware of that, or?
Not really, no. I focus a lot on what I'm doing myself. I get very confused getting involved with everything else. So that's my priority, really, because what I do about my head goes if I start listening to too many other things, just in life in general, my head goes. So I just focus on my recording and my music and my songs, and I'll go out. I'll always go out on my own, performing. I got a call the other day from someone, some guys in Italy to go and perform Northern Uproar songs over there.
Really?
And
That's cool.
I'm happy to do that. But I don't know of a resurgence, but I'd love to get the band back up and running again. But it's got to be worth its while. You know what I mean?
Heard it here first.
Yeah,
heard it here first. Let's get the boys back together. But yeah, I know what you're saying. It's got to be, it's got to be done properly, right?
Well, there's a lot of effort involved, So and really, Northern Uproar now it's just me. It's just me, the singer. So I'd have to go and get a band behind me to perform. And you want it to be fun and not, like going through the motions. If it's not
chore,
fun, If it's not fun, if it's a chore, forget it. And that's that's the way I look at it. That's why writing songs and being in the studio is great, because it's just you and the guys in there. You don't have to. You're not traipsing people around and all that. But it's a lot of effort, performing live. And I realise that now. When I was younger, I didn't think twice about lifting up amplifiers and speakers and drums and all that. But now it's like, fucking hell, you know what I mean? It's a lot of, and then you've got a gig on top of that. That's why a lot of these big bands, they have roadies and all that. They have what you don't want to be doing is in a band is doing loads of jobs where at the end of the day, the job that I've got to do is just sing and perform. That's all I want to do.
You touched on it a while back, but so you still do play some Northern Uproar songs when you're performing live, do you?
I do a lot of, yes. If I get asked to do, occasionally I'll get asked to do a Northern Uproar event, and I'll do it. But what I've done, I've gone into different other music. So I do a lot of events, and I play a lot of I do a lot of covers, but in my own style. And that's how I've got by, basically. And going back to that Spanglish thing, so I'll do a lot of, say, I'll choose some classic songs, and I'll put them in a bit of a Spanish flick. You know what I mean? So nice. what I'm actually doing is is doing events with songs that people know, getting paid well for it, and but putting my own twist on it, so it's not been like a covers band, you know.
Yeah.
You know, so
That's great.
And that's what I've done. Going back to the original stuff, I've used that method, and I've wrote my own music on it. You know what I mean? And that's
great.
It's like going back to the old days when the Beatles, when before they became the Beatles, they were a covers band. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. The first couple of Rolling Stones albums have barely got an original song on them, right?
Well, that's what I mean, and that's how they found the craft.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I've had to go back to find my own craft and my own. I've got it now. I've got it. Yeah, you know, just for enough, you know, like I say, next week I'm in the studio. I've recorded 10 rock tunes. What I mean by rock is like guitars, heavy guitars, drums, and I've now recorded 4 Latin style Spanglish tunes. It's all going on for me now. But
brilliant. I'm looking forward to it, man. Yeah, sounds great.
This year will be the year. Well, I think I'm going to take another year to finish it all off. So it might be next year when I put it all on Bandcamp, because then I'm gonna. That's what I'll do then, and then it'll be announced. I might even do it all in one go because maybe why not, you know? But maybe do it separate. Depends. I've got a management behind me, see. So
that's good.
You know, so that I'll ask him for his advice on that before I go any further with that one, you know.
If anyone watching or listening wants to find you in the meantime, have you got like anything set up where they can find you? And
I'm only on Facebook at the minute. That's the only thing that I'm on. You know, I should be on Instagram really, but it burns my head out, social media.
Mate, that's all of us.
I'm not on Instagram, man. I can't be doing with that.
It's a necessary evil, unfortunately. Yeah.
No, but I've got a busy life, you know. I've got a family, and I've got you know, I've got all the things going on. So, you know, what I find is that with the way that things have gone with social media, it's overload of it's personality overload for me. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, you know, I start to resent people more than I like, because it's just like you, at the end of the day, you know, you just seen all these images and fucking things going on, and I got caught up in it at one point, and I just thought, this is just crap. You know, it's great to use it as a tool for what it is, but you know, the nonsense behind it is that's the problem. So I'm only contactable on Facebook, but obviously when I get things going with the music, I will have to you know, broaden my horizons and maybe
just let us know. Let us know. Yeah. We'll tell all our followers, and hopefully they come and find you then. Well, we have got one. We got one last.
Go on.
No, carry on. You carry on.
The best thing to do is just friend me on Facebook, because then I will start announcing things on that, you know, towards the end of the year, because I won't forget you in this, but you know, I do what I mean is that I'll forget you specifically. But if you friend me and I can announce it, well, then you know and I know, then you know what I mean?
Yeah, we can share it. Yeah,
we'll do that. We'll do that.
We've got one last question that we asked all of our guests. If you could have been in any other band around at that time that you were big, who would it have been and why? What other band would you like to have been in?
God. Black Grape.
Nice. Yeah, we spoke to Kermit a few weeks ago actually for the podcast. What a top dude.
I think that album, The Great When You're Straight, is just it blows me now, because because what it is, Sid, it combines. Think about the album as it combines the madness, but with comedy, and I fucking love that.
And great tunes,
great tunes. But it's the comedy aspect where with the Mondays, it wasn't comedy; it was a bit more darker, though it was rhythmical. But when obviously the crossover between Kermit and Sean, it was madness with comedy, and I think and see this is why music is very particular and very because it's about the characters that are actually in it, and you'll never get that again. You'll never ever get that again. Never.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I mean
that's a great answer.
Yeah. Wait. I got one last question. Sorry. On your Discogs profile, the only information about you says, I'm going to quote, aged 8, Leon once took all the goldfish out of the family pond and lay them on the grass to dry. That's the only thing it says on your Discogs profile. Now, can you confirm or deny this very serious allegation?
That is, I'll deny that completely.
Where?
Never had goldfish. I've had koi carp, well, not goldfish.
That's what it says. That's what it says.
That might need updating.
Well, one of the funniest things ever. I mean, when I live in South Manchester, I'm well known for it, and it's just hilarious. But there was some article in the Sun or the Star saying that I slept with Sunita.
Right? Did you?
Right? No, I didn't. Right? But it was that, because obviously you got blokes that I know that work in factories, and they go, "Fucking hell, Leon slept with Sunita." Right?
Get in there, son.
It's gone round, honestly. There's lads that I know, and they just, every time I see, they just crack up in laughter. So I'll play the game that I have done, you know what I mean? And they've told the wives. They've told the wives.
You got a reputation.
I've got this reputation, and even my fucking girlfriend believes it. And she goes, "I don't believe you. You have slept with Sunita."
You have, and you're a fish killer. Yeah.
Brilliant. Load of bollocks. All of it's just people making things up, but it's funny. You gotta laugh.
It is. It's good stuff.
It's good.
All right, man. Thank you so much. We're going to stop the recording now. Don't jump away just yet, but thank you so much for the interview.
There we go. Leon Mayer, Northern Uproar. Dave, what do you think? Nice guy, isn't he? Top bloke.
It was funny seeing him in his car, but like you said, it was actually pretty good sound. And, but that was like a really good example of how having a long interview's really good, because
I think so.
He really warmed up through that interview, and you having quite a good laugh by the end.
Yeah. We had a good laugh.
Half Spanish. Don't know why that matters, but just put it in there.
Well,
you could tell by his accent, couldn't you?
Yeah, it sounds funny.
It's our second Mancunian in a row on the podcast, if so. Stockport's like like outskirts of Manchester, I think, isn't it?
But I like how he's got his little studio in Barcelona. You know, he's loving life. He's still part of the EU. He can come and go as he pleases. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's got a dual passport.
Yeah, he can go touring around Europe when he wants. Do you know what I mean? No problemo.
Didn't know you spoke Spanish, Neil?
Yeah. A little bit here and there. I am going to be learning Spanish, actually.
Oh, for your Lanzarote adventures.
Yeah, I've always fancied it, so we're going to try and learn.
What come across for me, and I don't know why I was surprised, but I think it goes back to what Dave was saying, that he kind of dismissed them as being kind of, manufactured. I didn't dismiss them as being manufactured, but I was a little bit, I don't know what the word is, but slightly skeptical about their authenticity at the time. But interviewing him, what came through for me was he had a deep love of music and a passion for songwriting, like the craft of songwriting. You could tell that he had like a deep passion for it, and that totally came across in the interview for me. And I was kind of embarrassed. I was surprised by it because I shouldn't have been,
Yeah, I've got it written here. He I quote him, "Music's my therapy." That's says it right there. Yeah, it's very important to him. Yeah, and it's always been musical. Yeah, and it was just like I say, not many bands get together that young, but they just happened to do so. They weren't put together by someone else. It's just they were just like any other band, but they were younger.
Yeah, and when people dismiss them for being young, but it should be the opposite, right? Because they're more knowledgeable and more passionate because they've been doing it for so long, you know?
Yeah.
I was just going to bring up how he met his manager in the park, and his manager was a park keeper.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah. It's like something out of the Beano, man. That's why I asked if it was Parkies anymore.
Well, he didn't manage. He was a tour manager, wasn't he, for a band before?
The World of Twist, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, I like that story too. And he's talking about his influences at the time when they were writing the first album and stuff. He said again, Acid House. He spoke about Acid House, Nirvana, two big players on this podcast. So, but yeah, Acid House again keeps coming up. People fucking loved it, didn't they?
But surely they were too young for that. If we were too young, they were too young, surely.
Too young to be going down the hacienda, maybe, yeah.
Right, I guess that's true. You can still hear the music, right? Yeah. I got older brothers and sisters, so it was on in my house. Rave music, I guess, rather than acid house. Like early 90s rave, rather than late 80s acid house, right?
What, those little tapes? Like
Yeah. Well, look, you know, on a ragga tip and all of that, right?
That's it, yeah. Fantasia, yeah.
I
loved all that stuff. Have you listened to it now?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I like it.
I think it was at the time. Also, I like the fact that he wasn't afraid to cite Hall & Oates and Robert Palmer for the kind of stuff that he's doing nowadays. Most people would be too embarrassed to do that, but he's just someone that loves music, and I love that, you know.
Yeah, and he said he's quite middle of the road these days. He's quite open about it.
Yeah.
He's not bothered. Actually, that brings me on to a thing I've written down here. It's kind of the same old story. A lot of these bands that had success back then, they seem happier now. Now that's all sort of gone, and they're just doing their own thing. Now they've got like full control over what they're doing, and I guess with success comes all the nonsense with it as well. So
yeah, and he definitely seems he seemed very at ease with what he was doing, and like really loving what he was, you know, his solo stuff and things. So yeah,
I also like the story told about Robbie Williams wanting to join the band. Very interesting.
That would have changed history, wouldn't it? If he'd joined them.
Don't know how
because that was just before his solo career took off, wasn't it?
Yeah,
we'd have had no Angels.
Oh man,
none of the stuff with Guy Chambers would have ever happened.
But Northern Uproar could have been the biggest band in the world.
Yeah,
Robbie at the house.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing for Robbie Williams to think, I'll just go and try and join one of these other bands. It's not the way it works.
He really liked Oasis, didn't he? He really wanted to be in that scene.
Yeah.
But you can't just be in them. You can't just go, oh, boy band's broken up, I'm going to join you.
But isn't that what Bez did? He just decided to be in the Happy Mondays.
No. He just got up on stage when they were playing once.
Yeah.
Exactly. He just thought, I'll be in that, and got up.
Yeah, but he didn't start singing for them, did he? He would have been about twice as old as everyone in the band. It seemed like they were sort of the band, they were kind of on the cusp all the time. They had some big hits, never quite sort of hit the top spot in the Brit Pop world, but they got pretty close at times, I think. They did pretty well in their short career.
I guess not many people actually did, right? Looking back, you kind of got this image that it was all guitar bands, and you know every guitar band was like number one, but there weren't, you know, outside, you know, the holy trinity of, you know, Oasis, Blur, and Pulp. Most people were like, you know, they were playing second fiddle to those three, right?
Because they supported Charlatans, Prodigy, almost supported Oasis at Main Road. That would have been a good one.
Yeah, that was a good story, wasn't it? Yeah, imagine that, right? And you're probably, oh, fucking hell, it's going to be it. It must have been gutting, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that would have changed the course of their history, really, but it would have been a fucking good gig to play, wouldn't it? I mean,
I would have given them a boost, anyway, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Do you know who did support them in the end?
All right, let me have a quick Google. Support acts were Ocean Colour Scene and Manic Street Preachers. Right. So they were just about to release Everything Must Go at the time, the Manics.
Yeah, that was before they blew up, wasn't it, really?
Oh, here we go. This is where I got it from. Brit Pop Heroes cast. I'm not sure if they're heroes. Were also due to play, but their drummer had broken his arm. Gutted? Question mark? Yes, very probably.
Oh, that's no excuse, is it? The drummer from Def Leppard's only got one arm, and he can fucking carry on.
Exactly.
Shouldn't have stopped them, should it?
No, it's not.
No. Well, I was going to make a really poor joke, but it's too bad to do.
Go on, we need a joke. We haven't had one yet.
I was just going to say, there's no harm in asking.
But he's got one arm. It's not none, so it doesn't work.
Yes, it does.
No arm.
For that, I'd have to say no arms. Just no arm means only one missing. No arms means no arms. So my joke does work, and your rebuttal is bullshit. So fuck you.
It didn't work.
Yes, it did.
We'll see what the listeners think.
Fine. Don't listen to the professional linguist.
I bet they were really pissed off with the drummer. That'd be really annoying, wouldn't it?
They didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah, but still,
do you reckon it got broken by a swan?
Well, if he was fighting swans, he could have gone to jail. You're not allowed to fight swans.
What about self-defense?
Treason. You still get killed for it.
Yeah. Get put in the tower. But do you reckon that anyone's ever had their arm broken by a swan? I know the claim is that they can.
I've heard that they can have a man's arm off.
But with what? What are they gonna...
Not just broken.
What are they going to break?
They can rip it off.
They just grab on and then fly back.
But they've only got small hands.
No, with the beak, not the hands.
Oh, is that they use all the powers in the beak? Is it?
Yeah. They got millions of little teeth in their beak.
I imagine they put their wings over and just cracked it. That was my image of how a swan would break someone's arm. We need an expert on this, don't we? Because we don't know.
No, he uses his feet on the ground to get leverage to pull back.
Right.
Yeah. But the gripping is done by the beak. Yeah.
Huh.
Have you fought a swan?
No, I've watched a video of a swan attacking a golfer just the other day. It's quite amusing.
Did it break his arm? Did it rip it off?
It didn't, actually, disappointingly.
Yeah.
I liked how they... it's good timing, actually, with last week's interview, how they met Black Grape at the airport, and Sean Ryder was on the floor after taking 40 Valium and 2 bags of smack.
You were all laughing about that, and you just think, that is not funny. 2 bags of smack and 40
The funny thing
Valium.
is, that's not the bit that I thought. The 2 bags of smack are fair enough, but it's the 40 Valium that I thought was a bit excessive.
Yeah.
But the 2 bags of smack's probably excessive in it.
That's
itself.
fine. Yeah. That's breakfast.
That can't be true. You can't take 40 Valium and survive, can you?
I don't know.
Sean Ryder, you can. A man's indestructible.
I like the Zig and Zag story on the Big Breakfast. That's a good. Just because I've forgotten all about Zig and Zag.
They were Irish aliens, weren't they?
They were.
Sure.
Yeah. They were. Yeah, they started on an Irish telly, and then they got promoted to the Big Breakfast. I had their single. I had a CD single. They released that single, "Them Girls."
I do remember. Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
I don't know why I had it.
But yeah, that was good, the old Zig and Zag, didn't they? They did some good interviews.
Well, it's good. The Big Breakfast was good, right?
Big Breakfast was brilliant, yeah. I like the Johnny Vaughan era, Denise Van Outen. That was my favourite era.
I've sort of met Denise Van Outen.
Go on.
Me and Steve went to a nightclub in London.
Who's Steve?
King's Cross.
Oh, Steve.
Steve.
Our mate Steve. Yeah.
At the Cross. And Denise Van Outen and Jamiroquai were there. All the guys.
Who's going out with just him?
Yeah, they were just following him everywhere. But me and Steve, we were dancing with Denise and her friend.
No, you weren't. You didn't dance.
Yeah, we were.
You didn't dance with Denise Van Outen.
Well, in the vicinity of.
Yeah, that's good enough.
How far away?
That's good enough.
2 feet.
2 feet.
Okay, that's dancing with her.
So what were you sort of grinding up against Denise Van Outen?
No, I wasn't grinding up against her.
Was she grinding up against you?
No.
Can't believe you grinded against Van Houten.
I didn't
nightclub.
grind.
Was Jamiroquai wearing his hat?
I think so. But yeah, he was just getting chased by other guys, like just desperate to meet him.
Took that as a green light to go in on Denise.
Shameful. Utterly shameful. Classic Dave move. That fucking Jamiroquai, that guy is so fucking rich. It's unbelievable.
I know.
He sold
still is, though, isn't
so
he?
many albums. Yeah, he sold so many albums. His thing is, he was worldwide, right? So it wasn't just
I
UK.
guess.
He sold in like South America and just like everywhere. He just sold millions upon millions of albums.
But yeah, he was stinkingly rich. Yeah.
He did this pot noodle advert in Japan a few years ago, where he kind of he changed the lyrics to one of what's his name?
JK.
JK, yeah. And I think he even like changed the lyrics to one of his songs and stuff to fit with the advert. It was pretty embarrassing. Proper, lost in translation kind of style. Speaking of 90s celebrities, it was funny at the end when he was talking about the rumor that it slept with Sunita. It was it was great.
And he played up. He didn't deny it, did he, to his mates?
He still uses it now, I think, when it comes up.
It's on Wikipedia. It's still on Wikipedia. Yeah, saying it as if it's as if people don't know whether it's true or not. And but he would have been like 17, right? Sunita was pop. She had a hit in the 80s. She must have been at least 10 years old. Oh, she's not too, but 17, 10 years older when you're only 17 is quite a bit older, isn't it?
I mean, I was going to say it's an odd coupling, but then Dave and Denise in the club, happens, doesn't it?
Why did you say it like that?
What?
Why did you say
That's what people do, isn't it?
In that voice? No. Say it again.
In the club. That's what people do, isn't it?
I sincerely hope not.
I have to pick him up on his jet lag story. I think jet lag for 2 weeks, that's ridiculous, isn't it? Don't you think?
Oh, I don't know. Well, they do it much better nowadays. The airlines have kind of worked out how to control it. But back in the day, I would. That's not uncommon, I would say.
I'm not even sure if it exists, jet lag.
Well, airlines have fixed it, haven't they? They've worked out how to.
How?
They trick you, don't they? They close all the windows and make you sleep at the right time in order to get your body clock onto the place that you're going to. They've kind of worked it out in the last 10 years. But before that, they didn't bother.
I went to Australia and it didn't make any difference. I just kept to their time when I got there and it's fine. Didn't have jet lag at all.
Well, there's the evidence then. Jet lag doesn't exist.
Exactly. I've proved it.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with Neil. You just do that simple thing and you're going to be fine. If you just ignore that and just keep trying to sleep at your own time scale, you're going to have jet lag.
Not so simple.
When you get to that country, you just immediately lock into, even if you're tired and it's 9 a.m, you still stay awake till 5 or 6 in the evening and then just go to bed normal time. That's what you do. You don't go to bed in the day.
But then if you don't sleep, what happens if you can't sleep?
What do you mean? You can sleep.
You just go to bed. Doesn't mean you sleep if you just go to bed, does it? You lay awake in bed.
But not if you're that tired, you wouldn't.
But what if it's the other thing?
What other thing?
Oh, yeah, you can't go to bed too early when you're not tired. You just have to stay up.
Okay, but what if you get there at 9 p.m. and you're not tired?
Then you got to wait till the next night.
Yeah, just stay up all night. And then
you got to stay up till the next night.
Doesn't help, does it?
Of course. Well, we've solved it. We're trying to help you and you're not listening.
I used to get terrible jet lag.
Well, we've just told you what to do, so you won't get it anymore.
Look, if you're not going to tell me what to do, then
we should write a book.
I used to get bad jet lag.
I think me and Dave have solved jet lag. It doesn't exist anymore. Going back to the big breakfast, I don't think we will get TV like that again. It was fun, wasn't it?
Yes.
Trouble is, we must be sort of remembering it a bit better than it was. I mean, perhaps we remember the golden bits, but to sustain good TV every morning like that, it couldn't, and that's why it ended.
But they haven't come back. They haven't come back with news shows with a similar sort of anarchic sort of setup, have they?
No.
No.
I think it's just because you know, in general, people don't watch TV like they used to. They don't. It's like Luke said, like on TFI Friday, everyone would have watched that episode.
But I also said it still makes sense because they would still get the viral clips out of it these days.
Yeah,
you know, which is
true.
a lot of programs exist just for the viral clips, right? And they would get that. I think it would work. You know,
it would work in a different way. Yeah, it would work. But I don't know if people would sit there and watch an hour's worth of, you know, that sort of show. I don't know. I mean, I didn't go and see Northern Uproar, did we? I'm trying to remember those festivals. I don't think we never got to see them.
I don't remember. So. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they came to Cardiff Union, but I didn't go because of my aforementioned prejudice against them.
I thought they were great. I bought a few of their singles back in the day. I used to.
Yeah, same.
Thought they were good.
Yeah.
I think just because of age, I sort of lumped them in with Ash and bands like that because they were young as well. There's a few other ones that were quite young. I can't remember what they were. There's a few
Menswear
bands
must have been dead young, I think.
Yeah, but they started a little bit later, I think. But
yeah, they came out in '95.
Oh, was it? Yeah, the guitarist in Menswear was 15, I think.
He wasn't that young, was he?
Yeah, I think so. Guitarist.
Really?
Christian. Then you had Symposium. They were all young.
Symposium, they were young. They were, yeah. And Midget as well.
Midget, that was it. Time. Midget. So yeah, there's like a group of these sort of young bands.
14, 15, weren't they? Yeah.
Charlotte Church, really young.
Sure.
Yeah.
Voice of an angel.
Technically not Brit Pop, but
she's anti-Semitic now. She did like an anti-bombing kids thing the other day, and now she's anti-Semitic. So I like because we sort of asked him about Northern Uproar and if that would ever sort of come back. He hasn't sort of said no, it's definitely not going to happen, but I think he understands the music industry and he's only going to do it if it's sort of worth it.
But didn't he sort of imply that if it did come back, he would need a new band? It's, you know, he'd call it Northern Uproar, but it wouldn't.
Yeah, it sounds like it's just
him
pretty much these
lineup.
days. But yeah, I don't think he's that bothered. He's enjoying doing his own stuff, and he still plays the odd Northern Uproar tune when he's asked to and stuff, and that's enough.
I think I saw something. He was on Nevermind the Buzzcocks recently as well.
He's a good crack, isn't he? I could see that he'd do well on those sort of things. He's a fun guy. I really enjoyed it. It was really nice chatting to him. One
other thing I've noted is his contempt. He didn't like social media, right? I really do hate going onto Facebook. I've realised it just makes me so unhappy to go on.
Well, that doesn't excuse you from going in our group that I've asked you to do once a week that you haven't bothered to do.
Why does it make you unhappy?
It's partly the FOMO thing, I guess. But
that doesn't really happen on Facebook. Facebook's not too bad for that. Facebook's more our generation.
Facebook's just my mates. I don't get like weird fucking shit on there. It's just my mates.
Yeah, and our group's really friendly. It's always quite nice on there. But things like Instagram and TikTok, it's very fucking. It would be horrible to be a teen growing up.
I'm not on either of those. I don't know about that.
Well, I am on them for work and stuff, but it's just a competition all the time.
You mean these?
You can find us on Instagram.
Narcissistic young pricks actually record themselves and then put it out to the public. Is that what you're saying?
It's unbelievable. It's like sometimes they sort of sit there. There's usually 3 of them chatting about some fucking stuff.
Just ill-informed nonsense. God.
Yeah.
Kids,
and then they put
little pricks, aren't they?
Like cut up little clips and put them on TikTok and Instagram and
they expect people to give a fuck what they're talking about as well, right?
Yeah, I know. Fucking the goal of it. Yeah, it's all that. But yeah, we are on Instagram and TikTok, if you didn't already know. So that's it for this one. Leo from Northern Uproar. Thanks to him for coming on. Appreciate it. It was a good one. If you have enjoyed it, or even if you haven't, just give it a thumbs up if you're watching. Leave us a comment below and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Yeah, leave us a comment below. Let us know your favourite Northern Uproar songs, memories, all that sort of stuff. If you're listening, rate, review. It really does help us in getting the podcast found, so we'd appreciate if you did that for us. Luke, mixtape.
Yep. Zig and Zag going on.
Nice. Yeah, do it.
Yeah,
Hall
it's
and
basically
Oates.
just gonna Hall and Oates and Zig and Zag. That's it.
Charlotte Church. Pop her on there. Voice of an Angel, that one.
Forgot about the Angel. Okay.
Dave.
See you in a minute.